song, My Star. It was written for the album. It was the first song written, and Sommer had come up with the chorus melody, and built off her melody, I wrote all the guitar parts and everything around it, and it was the first song for the album.
Yeah, it's basically just, the melody came to me, and I thought, maybe this can end up something cool, maybe not, so I just ran it by him, and he checked it out, liked it. So it's basically just kind of, the song is about, an impossible love, and how much you go through and everything when you're in one of those kind of relationships, and it either works or it doesn't. So
also musically, I got to add that I think it has, anybody that wants to give us any kind of an Evanescence comparison, I think that it has probably the most kind of maybe a Fallen, their first album kind of feel, just in the way the music is, and then combine that with the progressive elements where the key change and meter change in the middle is. It's kind of got a good balance of what Facing Forever is about, so that's why it's the lead-off track.
Close My Eyes is kind of a dark song, obviously. It basically deals with, there was a tragedy in our area at the time that I wrote it, and I was really it was the second to last song, I guess, lyrically to be written for the album, and I was having a hard time pulling inspiration at the time because of this tragedy that happened in our area. It really affected me, and so I basically just used that tragedy and pulled from it for the inspiration. But it's just very dark. It's really fun to sing. I really love to sing it. It kind of, you have to go to a dark place, and think about dark things to sing it. But yeah, it just kind of goes back and forth between someone who's a victim and someone who's done the crime, and what maybe possibly they went through, or what is going on in their lives that made them commit the crime. And then at the end it deals with kind of how I felt about the crime itself, and just how it really woke me up and made me think about just the evilness that's in the world. So
musically speaking, I think that the music is very good, that it has a push and pull feel of the safeness that we might feel, safety, and then the danger of what another human being and the evil that they might have in them, because it does have such hard aspects in the music, and then there's really soft aspects. I think it has one of the coolest sludgy heavy guitar riffs on the album, and Ryan has a really cool drum part for the intro that he came up with the day that we recorded it, just out of nowhere, and it's a really cool thing in that, and it's a very fun song to play live too. Behind the Mask is the third song on the album. It's a really cool song. We kind of chose it as our first single, I guess, off the album, did a video for it and everything, which hopefully many of you have seen. The song, interesting thing about the song was I originally wrote the music to the song in 3/4 time, which is a real slow waltz for those of you who don't know, and it had a very sad, melancholy feel, and for some reason I've got the idea to change it after I think Sommer and me had talked about the vocal melodies and different things when we were working on arrangements for it. Something about the melody that we had gave me the idea to change it to more 4/4 and upbeat, and so I changed that 4/4 so it had more of a rock and gave it an anthemic kind of feel, and that kind of gave it the whole direction, a totally different feel to the song that way. And I'd have to say that it's got one of the coolest bass lines, I think, for the whole album. It's Sommer's, I think, favorite thing that Donnie did, and it comes right in when he comes in on the bass, and that part's really cool. And then it's one of my favorite guitar solos. On the guitar solo, I constructed it in several different parts to where there was one guitar solo, and they were answering back and forth, kind of like a call and refrain. And at the end, they all meet up to create the big finale of the guitar solo. But I love it. It's one of my personal favorites on the album.
It is my favorite song on the album. It really speaks to me, just the lyrics. It basically wrote itself. It's the only song on the album that I really felt like I had no say in the matter of what the song actually was saying, because it just wrote itself. So, but it's fun to sing, it's fun to perform, and it deals a lot with the lyrics aspect of it. It deals a lot with just how we all might put on a mask and live our lives and do these bad things, and then there's someone, whether it be someone in your life or God, or anybody in your life that kind of pulls you and says, take off the mask, you're not an evil person, you know, you don't need to do all these things that you've done, and really just let go and be a good person and go to the light instead of live in the dark. So, but. Chasing Shadows it's kind of a sad but happy song. It's bittersweet actually. It kind of just deals with you know, when you lose somebody in your life, you feel that huge void, you know, day to day, they're not there and everything, and you know, if you're really close to that person, you feel like you're constantly looking for that person everywhere, you know, in day-to-day life, and you're constantly feeling their presence, and you know, you need something just to help you, you know, not really like forget about that person, but just be able to find peace with it, and you know, kind of just take the next step in your life. So it's a really deep song. So.
Also, musically speaking, it's one of the, probably is maybe the softest song on the album, maybe the ballad. It's got more of an experimental feel than the other songs, in that Ryan laid a drum part that was very just I don't know, tribalist, you know, not just traditional with your kick and snare kind of feel, and I layered the guitars with some acoustic guitar in there, and just wanted to have this real airy feel that fit the lyrics. And I know Sommer stacked up a ton of vocals on it to give it kind of almost what it reminds me of a Queen kind of feel, in the way the lyrics are, the way they're layered, the way the words are layered in there with the vocals and whatnot. But one little thing that a lot of people may not know, but I was inspired musically by a bit of, I kind of was going for a couple of progressions throughout it, kind of a Radiohead kind of feel in it. There's a couple of Radiohead tracks that I like, where Tom York does this kind of like spiritual thing where he's going on, and I was kind of going for that vibe and feel of that, because I really appreciate what Radiohead does in that. But yeah, really nice. Next on the album is Bloom of Hope. What I really like about Bloom of Hope is it's a song that has a big sense of urgency. I like how it just comes in, it kicks in with the music real heavy and fast, and Sommer's vocals, Sommer just comes right in the top of her vocal melody, getting right into the story of the song. Interesting thing about the song is that I originally had this one guitar riff that, you know, was the main verse part of it, and when Donnie and Ryan laid their bass and drum parts, and Sommer laid her vocals and everything to that guitar that I had, there was something about it that just wasn't gelling, that I didn't like. So I went in and totally wrote a whole new guitar part around the way the rhythmic changes are within that first verse and the structure of the song. And I think it's much more immediate and hits and follows along with what's going on in the story of the song much better. I like how in the chorus he created that bigness of the guitars while Sommer's vocal soars up over the top. I think we captured that really well in the song. It's a really awesome song. I think how short and sweet it is, and how much happens within that song. I think it's under 4 minutes, which you know, if you know anything about my past, I never thought I could have written a song under 4 minutes. So, yeah.
Lyrically speaking, it is a crazy song. I read a lot of books, so the inspiration comes from a particular series of books that, you know, I'm not going to say what it is, so that
Also.
I don't say. I want you guys to figure it out. It's a pretty big series, but it just really touched home for me. I just really connected with the characters and everything, and I thought, you know, it would be cool to write a song that was inspired by it and everything, and kind of how you feel watched, or, you know, like you're being controlled. So yeah, and then having that little piece of something in the story that gives you hope for the whole entire series. It's kind of what the song is. It's, you know, Bloom of Hope. There's supposed to be hope in the grand scheme of things, even though things are so crazy and bad. So.
Would you say it's kind of a weird love song?
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it, though.
Song,
That's
yeah.
what's cool. It doesn't sound like it.
Take my hand and save my soul.
Fading is kind of a darker song. It kind of deals with a struggle, like a spiritual struggle, and, you know, maybe any kind of, for me it's a spiritual struggle, because I have dealt with a lot of spiritual struggle in my life, and have finally gotten to a place where I am free, and I've overcome all of that. But it's just kind of, you know, you let things talk you down, and bring you to your lowest point and make yourself doubt yourself and doubt God or doubt, just anything that you could be doubting, and just kind of tear you apart and somehow overcome it.
Yeah, I think musically speaking, it was a song that we wanted to build off kind of symphonic sounding, like the way the intro comes in. It's really airy, with her vocal is almost whispery. We were shooting for something that was real empty sounding, like the lyrics are, like you're fading to nothing almost, and then through that you're battling. A lot of these songs deal with that battle of good and evil, and trying to find the light in the darkness. But that was it. We wanted to start from something simple, like you were beat down so small, and we built it up off of that and come out, and then the song travels through those emotions and dealing with that battle, a spiritual battle. And interesting things, I wrote the guitar part on the acoustic guitar, and it was originally kind of more of a jazzy kind of funky feel, but then I opened it up and made once again, based off the rhythm section, the bass and drums, when they laid down their bass and drum part, I took and backed it off and did these big open chords for the verses, and I think it gave a nice contrast between that verse and then going for the bridge and choruses being more heavy. And then in her lyric where she's talking about the waves crashing in on her, that has a more immediate building feel in that. And then bringing in, once again, I like the 3/4 time signature. There was a lot of 3/4 in the one part that is that rolling, like the waves are rolling and you're battling against those waves. I think we captured the emotion of the song rather well. It's a song, I think, that with more and more listens, a person will get it, the depth of the song. I think one quick listen of it, you might not catch it. There's a lot of subtleties within the song that was done musically and lyrically and vocally.
Pushed aside, hold on tight, baby.
On the album, and I think that Field of Fire is much like Bloom of Hope in comparison to mine. They're kind of like sister songs as far as their intensity and speed and volume and dedication to power. That song, an interesting thing about that song is it starts off in 7/8 time, and I like that contrast again of these battling time signatures going between the 7/8 and going back to 4/4, and then kicking in for the verse pattern. I think that listening to it after it's recorded, the verse pattern reminds me a bit, oddly enough, in her melodies and whatnot, of Killswitch Engage, with Donnie's bass having a bit of a Police synchronicity sound. I know it's weird to cite these influences like that, but that's what it makes me think of. I don't know if you would hear it that way. And then what I really like about it is the instrumental section, where Donnie and Ryan and myself are all tightened up and locked into those little intricate little parts. It's that melodic thing that we've captured in our music that is really strong for the song, but then we put those progressive punches in there with the musicianship and technicalities. And another good song utilizing the low F sharp on the 8th string. It was the second song written, and we just wanted something meaty and tough, and there it is. Sommer doesn't care much for the song, I think, live, maybe, I'm not sure, or something, but I love it. I love it live. It's a great live song.
I have a love-hate relationship with the song. Mostly because of its subject matter, and that maybe that's the curse on it. Lyrically, it's about, growing up, I had a lot of struggle. There was some people in my life that sort of doubted me, or not really doubted me, but told me, oh, you can't sing, you can't do this. I have like this self-conscious thing, like stage fright and everything because of it, and I'm hopefully overcoming that. But the song is kind of written about, letting something be the fuel to your fire. Like, you feel like all these people doubt you and say you can't do it, and then you start to think that you can't do it. And how ironic that I would feel this way about this song, because when we first played it as a band, I could never get the timing on it right. The chorus, I could never do it, and I kept saying, I can't do this, and it was like, how ironic that this song was written for all my I can'ts in my life about singing and music and everything. And so maybe there's just a mental block on it, but it really is a great song. I just it makes me think of bad things when I perform it. So, but yeah, it deals a lot with people telling you can't, and you really can't. Black Rose lyrically, actually I had some help writing the lyrics from him. One of the songs that I had help writing the lyrics from. It always reminds me of the movie Beastly, or Beauty and the Beast, because I don't know if you've ever seen Beastly, but it's what it reminds me of. It's not like it was not written for that, but it just reminds me of it. It's kind of like always, you'll have to help me out here, but to me, whenever I sing it, it's kind of always like people wanting something from you, like wanting you to be a certain way, and you just feel like you are somebody else and you're never going to be what they want you to be. You're never going to, you're just going to be you, or you're just going to strive to be you. And, these people have these other expectations of you, and you try to meet those expectations, but you feel like you're never going to get there.
Also, I think lyrically, what I was approaching in the song is kind of funny because we have two different meanings of it, but it makes sense lyrically. Is I took the approach of a person who people that find solace in being the black rose, or being dark, or finding comfort in unhappiness is kind of what it's about. It's like you'll meet people in life, or people you come in contact with, that it seems like they're only happy if they're miserable. And that's kind of what that is about, taking upon that mark, or the black rose, and becoming that. The music of the song, it's absolutely one of my favorite songs. I think it is the longest song on the album, and it's got more of the progressive element with the big intro, and the big outro, and the ups and downs, and all the changes in it. And it's probably one of my absolute favorite choruses on the album. I love the chorus of that song, and the times that we played the song live, it's one of my absolute favorites. And I think possibly it could be the direction of the future of the band. I can see us doing some more longer things like that, with some of the shorter things that we've done, because the song comes across so well, and her vocal delivery of it is really, really powerful, all the different dynamics of the song, because it's unbelievable. Right now, as I run through the song in my head, there's so many different parts that in that song that are so different from each other, and each one, when I think about them, it's what she's doing on the vocals. It just sticks in my head that I really like so much. So I want to capture that more and more dramatic, more epic, and gothic kind of scenarios, lyrically speaking and vocally speaking.
The chorus is a lot. It's Evanescence-ish. I stacked up a lot of vocals.
Yeah, a lot
of melody vocals. So it's really big.
And another influence you guys may not know of, I didn't know that I was influenced by, but when I listened to it in that chorus, it's funny she says that, but in the guitar parts, I hear King's X, and that's weird because you would never think of King's X fitting into this kind of sound, but I hear some King's X in that. So, hats off to Tatsubor. So. Open Heart. Okay, Open Heart is the song She Doesn't Care For. One of my top favorite songs on the album. I love the song. I love the lyrics. I love the music. I love the emotionalness of it. She doesn't care for it, I think, because the vocal range or something is something that she doesn't care for about it, or something. I don't know. That's what she says.
Well, at first I was having to sing through the stratosphere, and it was like it hurt.
Well, what I like so much about it is I think Ryan said it best. There's a part in there, like in the second chorus, where it has this heart pounding, this heart kind of pulse to it, and I think that's captured really well in the music. And what I like so much is whenever it's in a 3/4 or 6/8 time, but he approaches some of it in a straight 4/4 time over that on the drums, and it gives it a really weird contrast. Sometimes that it's uncomfortable if you're not locked into what's going on. And a tidbit of you might know, I feel that it's kind of got for any of you Evanescence fans out there, I think it has, in some of the verse sections of it, it has an origin quality, which is way back before they were anybody who's anybody, supposedly. But it's got that kind of airy origin kind of feel, in my opinion. And then the other parts, I don't know. Oh, and in the midsection where it does a change, it's one of my favorite guitar solo parts too. It builds up and it's really, really big and anthemic, and I did a lot of harmony guitars. It has kind of a Brian May-ish thing. And when I listen to it, it really pulls on my heart, for lack of a better term. It really does. It's a very powerful song, I think.
Lyrically, it is, well, it's better now. When we first started performing it or whatever, I loathed it because it was very, the chorus and stuff was really in a high range, and after singing it time after time after time after time, it really hurt, and it's not supposed to hurt. So, but yeah, it's an emotional song. It's about pouring, your love and your heart and everything you have out, you know, I don't know, having somebody like step on your heart, maybe, you know, I mean, just, you know, just pouring it all out for somebody and loving somebody so much, and then may not exactly return the favor the way that you think we should. So. Darkness and Light it's a big spiritual song. I mean, it deals a lot of, you know, through darkness and light, you know, all the stuff that you go through to get to that point of salvation, and you know, and how you've got all these people around you that they may not have the same beliefs that you do, but you have to keep soldiering on and you know, battling it out, because, you know, it's a battle for your soul. So, you know, you gotta keep on believing what you believe, even if others don't back you up, and you know, just stand up for what you believe is right, even if you're standing alone. So, but it's a big spiritual song.
And did I write some of the lyrics on this song?
Yeah, he helped.
Okay.
He helped. We
I was
wrote it
thinking I
together.
did, because as we were talking about it, I was thinking the one thing, this is going to probably make her feel uncomfortable. One thing, the first verse, I believe it is, I think I had some hand in that. And there's a part where the lyric talks about a glow on your face and whatnot. That was inspired about about her, and the feeling of the warmth of love and the glow of the sunlight on like her face and whatnot, and that little bit of light. No matter what kind of darkness you face, you gotta, you know, the little light of something like that, or be it your, you know, your spirituality, your faith, you know, you gotta hold on to that and fight that darkness, and always remember those little shards of light, for lack of a better term. Musically speaking, it's another one of the more epic ones. It's got a lot of changes through it. I know the section that drops down in the middle builds up really big, and there's a lot of vocals and whatnot in that build that up big. One thing that's cool is when we recorded that one, I think that was the last song rhythmically that we recorded, and Ryan, when he laid the drums, came up with that kind of Latinish kind of feel just right then when we recorded it that day. He'd never played it that way before, and it ended up totally changing the vibe of that, you know, and it, you know, made you want to do a salsa dance or something when you listen to it. And that's what's really cool about a lot of the drum parts and a lot of things that ended up going on to the recording. You know, they were, you know, he kind of improvised some of those parts like that, and this song captures that really well, and what he's capable of, and what, you know, still how parts were being, you know, constructed and arranged even clear up till it's being recorded. But it's another song that I think if you first listen to it, you might not just be right there at you, you know, but more listens, then you'll be like this. Yeah, it'll dive right into your heart, because I think it's a real powerful song, you know. And you know, like she said, no matter what, you know, hold true to your faith, and you know, don't let the power of darkness overcome it. You know, through darkness and light is exactly what it is. Okay, the next to the last song on the album, Listen, the last actual rocker on the album, probably in my top 3 on the album. Absolutely love Listen. There is something that is so stinking powerful about that song, and I really like it. It was originally titled, the working title of it was The Machine, because I came up with the guitar part, and I liked the mechanical sound of it, like the choppiness of that opening riff and whatnot. And when, like, me and Ryan worked on arrangements and whatnot for it, we did it that way to where it was very, very tight and choppy to get that mechanical feel, like just a sludge at you like that. And it's got definitely like one of my favorite guitar solos in it. Man, it's fun to play live. Everything about it. That's another song I can see that, like say with Black Rose, Behind the Mask. Those 3 songs being kind of like the future of what, you know, Facing Forever will be about. Things like that, you know. It's just, I just love it. I can't say enough about how much I love the song, and her vocals on it, you know, just once again, the vocals just kill the song. I love it.
Lyrically, it is kind of about, you know, you put this music out there for people to listen to, and you know, you kind of debate whether or not that you should, because are people even really listening to it, or are they even, you know, taking it for what it's supposed to be used for, you know, and it letting them, you know, make them feel, you know, some emotion from it. But, you know, it's just, you know, you put your soul out there whenever you write music and, you know, sing or perform or play guitar or play drums. You know, you put everything that you have into it. So when people just take it and they're like, you know,
Yeah.
then you're just like, oh my gosh, you just killed my soul. You
So
know?
it's kind of like a feel sorry for yourself kind of song.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
I mean,
I gotta love my art if nobody
yeah.
else does.
Yeah, because you just want people to listen, because that's, what you did it for is so people can listen. So, but it is one of my favorite songs. I really love singing it. I love performing it. It was one of the last songs that we recorded for the album, so by the time we recorded it, I was pretty comfortable in singing different melody parts and stuff, so it was easy to stack extra stuff up and, really make it big like it should have been, like it should be. But, yeah, it's really cool. It's one of my favorite songs, and hope that you guys like it too.
Also, somewhere in there, I just want to point this out. There's a little nugget of, I'll throw this out there that I want to see if anybody could ever find it. There's a hint of a Flyleaf-inspired guitar riff in there that I've never told anybody about till now. And
Not even me.
it's in there, but I don't know if you could ever hear it, but it's something I had a Flyleaf feel, and I said, yeah, I'll do it. I don't think even Flyleaf would know it sounds anything like him. Maybe just in my head. Fill Me Up, it's the last song on the album. Fill Me Up, we chose it as the last song, or I chose it and everybody just kind of had no choice. I said it was going to be the last song on the album because it was the only song like this. I wanted it to be an acoustic guitar and her vocal, just Sommer and myself, and that's it. Because Facing Forever was basically started by Sommer and myself, and we started as doing acoustic covers and playing and working on songs together by ourselves. So I kind of wanted to take the album out with what started the whole thing, which was Sommer and myself. So I wanted the song to be that way, and I wanted it to be like you'd been on a journey and went to the movies or something, and this was like the closing song, the end credit song, to where you went through this journey of all the music and lyrics, and this song was the final thought, the final thing that closed the album to give you the final feeling, the final thought as you walk away out of the theater and the lights dim. This is the thing that I wanted to be at the very end. In a way, kind of like, as far as an Evanescence influence, I was very much inspired by The Open Door, the second album that they released, in that the last song was like just Amy and the piano and whatnot, and everything else up to that point was pretty, hardcore or whatever, the full band and everything, but then just a final song to close it out with a certain mood. I like how that felt on that album, and I kind of wanted something like that for our album, where it was a final song, just, a vocal and a nice guitar.
The song is quite an emotional song for me. Like, I have to work to not get choked up when I sing it, because it was the last song that we did, and he had already had the acoustic guitar, so I had it, on my MP3 player, so I could be thinking about, what to write the words for and everything. And this last year has been a spiritual journey for myself. I got baptized and everything, and just really came full circle in my spirituality. And so the song for me is kind of just about my salvation, actually. And so I mean, it's an emotional song for me. So, but I just wrote it about how God just takes you and changes you and fills you up, and you want that. Once you get to that point of being saved and everything, you can't imagine it any different, and you wouldn't change anything about it. So you just want, Christ to take you and change you and fill you up. So that's just kind of what it's about, is just being filled up. So
That is it.
I think we're done now.
Lie awake, the silence is so alive.